This program lineup is brought to you by Vision Express.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Apply at matson.com. Cars Plus, Guam's automotive leader in sustainability and electric vehicles. Learn more at carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime.
A hot debate today on session floor. The governor's proposal to build a medical complex on Crown lands in Barrigada moved forward for a vote. I'm Mitsuki Hirayama with what senators had to say.
Federal officials are here on the island to gather information for the Department of Defense to inform its decision on where to build nuclear power reactors potentially.
The search continues for a woman who has been missing for over a month now. Now, even though family members say that she may have called, her whereabouts are still unknown. I'm Julian Hernandez with the story.
Half a day and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Thank you so much for making this a part of your day.
A heartbreaking start to our newscast tonight. Des, an update to that rescue in the waters off Assen Beach this week.
KUAM has learned the 8-year-old boy that was rushed to the hospital after being pulled from the water has died. As KUAM reported, Guam Fire Department units responded to a report of distressed swimmers in Assen just after 2 p.m. Monday. The GFD rescue boat first located a 13-year-old and pulled him from the rough waters. He did not need any additional medical attention. It was a GFD rescue watercraft that later located an 8-year-old boy. The child was taken to Naval Hospital as medics performed CPR, but he did not survive. Authorities have yet to release any additional information. Our heartfelt condolences to his family for their loss. Well, passionate debate on session floor earlier this morning as senators debate where the new hospital should be located. The governor's Bill 184 up for talks. She wants a medical complex to be constructed at Crown lands in Barrigada.
But some senators continue to question the location and the need for a medical complex when our current public hospital is deteriorating. Still, senators moved the bill forward for a vote. Mitsuki Hirayama has more.
Session floor heating up Wednesday morning as senators debate the governor's Bill 184. The measure would allow the Ancestral Lands Commission to lease or sell 61 acres of Crown lands in Barrigada for the administration's proposed medical complex. Senator Joanne Brown questioning the governor's vision when there's a, quote, total inability to effectively operate the existing hospital.
The record for the administration on health care, where are we? Where are we, my dear colleagues? Show me the success stories. Show me what's been improved up there at the hospital. I'm waiting, I'm looking, I'm hoping. Maybe at some point I got to start dreaming, because I guess those of us that have a different perspective, we must have very small minds.
It's a point Health Committee Chair Speaker Therese Terlahi underscores.
That was the mandate, that was the expectation, that the fiscal teams, all the PR teams, all the management teams were going to focus on the current hospital and build a new hospital. There's no reason we can't do that.
On the flip side, an emotional plea from a father-to-be with a baby girl on the way. Senator Will Parkinson wants the governor's bill to pass.
I'd like her to have a hospital. I'd like her to have a hospital as she grows up and not have to be dependent on flying off island for our medical needs. And I'd like everybody's children to not have to fly off island to address their medical needs, because some people can't. Some people don't have that privilege.
And Senator Tom Fisher cautioning once more against the legislature's intrusion into executive functions, saying senators are getting way out of their lane.
This legislature, the 37th KUAM legislature, seems to have some sort of an imperial streak that leads us to believe that we can control every aspect of the executive branch, I suppose it won't be too long before we'll be reaching into the judiciary. This is not our place, colleagues. It is not our place.
But Senator Chris Barnett disagrees.
There are some in our body who argue that we're stepping on the governor's toes. We're stealing her authority. We're driving outside of our lane. They argue that the Organic Act gives the governor the authority to care for our health care. And unfortunately, the governor and the lieutenant governor have failed in that responsibility.
Barnett also bringing talks to his proposal, Bill 185, that would mandate the new hospital be built at Ipao Point in Tamuning. He counters the administration's claims that the 38-acre plot is too small for a growing population.
I wonder which population are they talking about? Because the only population that's growing, that's going to be growing, is the military population.
Session was recessed until early this afternoon. Mitsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
Thanks, Mitsuki. Meantime, Senator Chris Barnett's Bill 185 that mandates a new hospital to be built at Ipao Point in Tamuning was also moved forward for a vote. Many senators supporting his bill, but it didn't come without divisive debate. Senator Sabina Barros calling it the most cost-effective solution, taking fiscal responsibility into account. But Senator Tom Fisher speaking out against the measure, calling it political, illegal, and authored in bad faith.
Bill 185 was offered in order to block the executive branch's appropriate consideration of the place for the hospital. A conclusion that we can draw from that is that the gubernatorial election of 2026 is well and clearly underway. 2107B, 2 Guam Code Annotated. No bill authorizing the transfer of land or leasing of land may be considered by the legislature on the third reading unless accompanied by 2 appraisals on all land concerned appraised for highest and best use. So in other words, the bill as offered is illegal.
Speaker Therese Terlahi disagreeing with Fisher. She quoted the administration's own Matrix study that Ipao Point is the best site for a medical complex or a new hospital.
I'm not sure how, if we are talking about the property that's ranked #1 in a $2 million study, how someone in here can describe this bill to be in bad faith. I also don't understand how someone in here can describe this bill to be bad faith when this property, according to the study, is going to be faster to build a hospital and cheaper, less expensive to put in the infrastructure. How is that in bad faith?
Barnett successfully amended the bill on session floor, bringing it into compliance with the law. The measure, along with the governor's bill, is expected to be voted on this Friday.
More than 1 month has passed since 24-year-old Betty Diamond Katsuda went missing. Her family and Guam police aren't giving up in trying to locate her and get her home safe.
Shockingly, Betty's Facebook page had an update just this week, but family have not been able to confirm if it was Betty who in fact published it. KUAM's Julian Hernandez retraces Betty's steps.
The questionable post comes 1 month after loved ones reported her missing. The last time her social media friends saw any activity was mid-December. Several disturbing messages on her page. This was dated December 19th last year, states in part, "They beat me till knocked out unconscious and do whatever till I awake." Her post adding, "It's men thinking they can do whatever they want to girls and beating them because they should be ashamed. Why?" Katsuda was last seen December 21st along Chalan Cabezas in Jigo wearing a peach t-shirt, blue jeans, and black Adidas running shoes. KUAM spoke with residents who lived in the Jigo neighborhood today. Have you ever seen this woman before?
Doesn't look familiar.
You've never seen her, because she's known to frequent around this, the Chalan Cabeza area.
No. Don't recognize her.
But you've never seen her?
I've never seen her walking around here.
Right.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people about her, though.
Not much luck getting new info from residents here.
One of Betty's family members told KUAM that her mother received a call from Betty herself, seemingly being coerced to call off the police search.
The phone call was received on January 11th from a private number, but Betty's mother Bertha and other family members tell us Betty never disclosed where she was or who she was with. Her mom hasn't heard from her since, remains fearful for her safety.
I would like her to be safe. I would like her to come home. If she's not secure at coming home, if she's not secure coming home, at least she has other relatives that she can call and go and stay with them as long as she's safe. I would like the person, whoever holds her, thank you very much for holding on to her. I hope you understand how parents really need her child. And I hope you release her and care for her.
Police today say they are still investigating and the search for Betty is ongoing. Julianne Hernandez, KUAM News.
Thanks, Jules. We are praying for the safe return home for Betty. Well, the murder defendant facing a retrial in connection to a separate drive-by shooting case is back in Superior Court today, but defendant Nicholas Moore went before a new judge. Moore appeared before Judge Vernon Perez today. The case was previously heard before Judge Alberto Tolentino. Defense again calling for a mistrial, arguing Moore was denied his right to a public trial. This despite the case being widely publicized in the media.
And defense also calling for co-actor Eric Salone to be called to testify once trial gets going. It was in October of 2020, Moore was accused of allegedly shooting at two men, hitting one near the Agana Heights basketball court. It was 1 year ago. A judge declared a mistrial after multiple delays. Defense had requested Judge Tolentino be recused from overseeing the retrial. Moore, who is currently out on house arrest, is set to appear back in court January 31st. Meantime, he still awaits his day in court for his murder case. It took a Superior Court jury less than 1 hour to return with a guilty verdict. The jury convicting Estanislao Matagolay of felony theft by deception with a special allegation of vulnerable victim and 2 counts of theft by deception as misdemeanors.
It was in October 2021. The 83-year-old victim told police he had been scammed by Matagolay. Matagolay was accused of calling the victim multiple times, asking for money and claiming to be a relative who needed it for a variety of reasons. Trial was held before Judge Vernon Perez. Prosecutors plan to ask Matagolay serve 32 years in prison.
Federal officials are on island to gather more information for a major military project.
Military officials involved briefed the media about it as local activists expressed their opposition from across the street. Here's more.
Officials from the Office of the Secretary of Defense are on the island for a week for what they call an academic trip for Project Pele, a nuclear power reactor with mobile capabilities for the Department of Defense, with an order of magnitude cost of around $0.6 to $0.7 billion. Jeff Waxman is the program director for Project Pele for DoD.
We are currently in the process of beginning to build the reactor. It is a prototype. It's going to be built in Virginia, and it's going to be tested in Idaho. And the prototype is never going to leave Idaho. But the Department of Defense has to decide if it wants to build more nuclear reactors in the future. And before that decision can get made, we have to understand what would be the right places to have those reactors.
DoD looking at over 100 sites for potential nuclear reactor sites. Waxman and his team already visiting Hawaii and now Guam, with other islands in the Pacific being analyzed. And while Waxman reiterates there are no concrete plans to bring a reactor to the island and that the visit is to gain an understanding of power needs, power resiliency, and requirements to inform decision makers on the ideal locations for the reactor, they are also here gathering environmental, political, and cultural information.
Specific locations that are culturally sensitive. There's the drinking water is a concern. Corrosion is a big concern for anything that's metallic on the island. I'd say those are probably some of the big ones that we've gathered from being here. Also considering the cultural and political issues. Is this some place that wants nuclear power, or is it a place that doesn't? Because in modern day, the DoD is going to want to know that the local population, for the most part, is okay with something like this. They're not going to try to put it somewhere that doesn't want it.
And outside of the Joint Region Marianas gates, activists with the group Protehi Lategsan making it clear they do not want the nuclear reactor here. Maniaca Flores is with the group.
They're going to try to tell us that it's for our benefit, for the security of our island, but we know that this poses many threats to our island. You know, for instance, if they need this nuclear power generation to support the missile defense system, should we be attacked, these nuclear reactors will pose tremendous harm to our community, to our island, including permanent contamination of our groundwater, of our soil, and also exposing our community to nuclear radiation and death.
Flores questioning the potential impacts of the project.
When we think about nuclear power generation, we have to think about nuclear waste. Where are those hazardous materials going to be stored? How are they going to be stored? And again, and again, beyond the risk of conflict, we are in a hotspot for typhoons. The military is the world's largest producer of emissions and is a huge contributor to the climate crisis. We had a super typhoon just in 2023. Those typhoons can harm nuclear reactors.
She's also curious about blast radiuses. Waxman explaining the harm of being in the vicinity of a broken nuclear reactor. He says one of the misperceptions about nuclear danger is around uranium, but he contends the real harm comes from...
The harm comes from when you run a nuclear reactor for a while, you will have waste products. So in the same way that if you run your car, the waste product is things like carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. So a nuclear reactor has its own waste product gases, things like cesium. And so those gases, if they were to get out and you breathe them in, it would, if you breathe in enough of it, it could increase your risk of cancer. So that's really what the fear is, if you were to be in the vicinity of a nuclear reactor that were broken.
He adds the reactor is small with not much radioactive material, in addition to encapsulated fuel with containment systems. He says in a 500 bomb attack scenario, all radioactive material is not going to be released at once. Meantime, the prototype is in the process of being built in Virginia to be tested in Idaho sometime around 2025.
Wow, what a project that they have here, and excited to see where it brings it next. But we have more coverage on that
We
coming?
definitely have more coming. It was a lot to digest today, to say the least. But like we mentioned, we just need to reiterate that these federal officials are here. There are no concrete plans to bring the nuclear reactor to the island just yet. Their whole reason they say they're here is for an academic trip. So they're trying to gather information, cultural information, environmental information, so that they can provide it to DoD officials to make an informed decision of where to potentially build these nuclear reactors. And of course, we did hear from Protehi Lategsan.
Some pushback there.
Definitely some pushback there. She made some points about environmental impacts, which they did address. For example, he did mention about drinking water is definitely a concern, corrosion, and metallic. He said, right here, if I can quote, that metallic on the island is a concern. So definitely we have more to follow up with. It was a lot to digest, so we'll be definitely putting out more tomorrow.
All right.
All right. Well, a recovery underway is in the eastern part of Micronesia after a rogue wave hits the Marshall Islands over the weekend.
Images capturing the terrifying moments as the water rushed onto the land where a U.S. Army base is also located. Fortunately, no serious injuries were reported.
Door closed. Keep the door closed. Whoa! Whoa! What? Where's Viv? Where's Viv? Where's you good? You good? Oh my God.
Eric Hansen captured the moment one of several huge waves battered down on the island of Roy Namur. The area is in the northern part of Kwajalein Atoll in the Republic of Marshall Islands.
Come again! Come again!
The terrifying scene unfolding Saturday night on the U.S. Army Garrison Base, where the military says they support the U.S. Space and Missile Defense Command's Ronald Reagan Ballistic Missile Defense Test Site. By Sunday morning, the military sent an air crew to conduct damage assessments from above. The aftermath showing how the water inundation washed over the northwest side of the island, flooding at least a third of it. Garrison Commander Drew Morgan took to social media to discuss the challenging days that followed the island being hit by the massive waves.
They caused extensive damage there that we're still assessing, but luckily there were only a few minor injuries.
A total of 80 of the 120 people who called the island home had to be evacuated, the others staying behind to assess the damage and restore basic services like utilities.
I have been so impressed with Team Quadra's response and the outpouring of generous community support. This is going to go down in Quadra's history books as one of its most challenging times ever in its 80-year history. We will get through this.
By Tuesday, the military reported flooding from the waves damaged much of the unaccompanied personnel housing, the dining facility, a bar and grill, the chapel, and theater were moderately to severely damaged, and the automotive complex remained underwater. Officials now doing whatever possible to recover and care for those impacted. Operation Roy recovery in full effect, but expected to take months to complete.
An incredible response there in the recovery efforts. Now, the person that did post that video, he goes by the name World Maverick on Instagram, and that's where he posted it initially. Got global attention there. He posted, "Now that I have heard everyone from this event is okay, I'm finally posting the video. Roy Namur Island was hit hard by several huge waves Saturday night. It was not a tsunami. No other islands were affected. It was a combination of wind, tides, and swell direction. It was also right after a low tide at a 1.2 feet tide, so could have been worse." And
wow. Well, great to hear that he is well and writing that message.
Right.
We're so happy that you're safe.
And everyone else as well.
Definitely. Well, in other news, a fire sent a large cloud of dark smoke into the air this afternoon here in Harmon. It happened just after 4 p.m. today. Our cameras capturing the scene at the junkyard nearby. It's the same area that's been vulnerable to fires erupting and burning through the abandoned vehicles.
And units with the Guam Fire Department also responding to the scene. The cause of the fire is unknown at this time, and no injuries were reported. We, of course, just received some information from the Guam Fire Department desk.
We did so just this afternoon. Again, GFD units responded to the Tow Pro junkyard on Route 16 by Fort Juan Munya, and they reported black smoke that was sighted. Upon arrival, GFD units initiated extinguishment on the approximately 40 by 40 area consisting of auto parts and debris. Now, we have requested this is from GFD, we have requested the assistance of Public Works to utilize their heavy equipment. GFD adds, as of this time, we are currently having the fire under control. However, we are advising the community who live or work within the area to either shelter in place, shut off their air conditioning systems, or temporarily evacuate as needed due to smoke within the area.
Meanwhile, multiple people were safely evacuated from their apartments after one unit caught fire this morning. It happened off Route 1 Marine Corps Drive at the Summer Garden Apartments in Tumuning. Witnesses capturing video of the thick smoke billowing into the air.
According to GFD spokesperson Nick Garrido, a first floor unit was covered in flames. Fortunately, no one was inside at the time. A tenant living on the second floor unit above the burning apartment was assessed for smoke inhalation, but Garrido says that person did not require any medical transport. Others in the surrounding units were evacuated as firefighters put out the flames. Fire investigators are looking into how it started.
And the Guam Fire Department also a reminder that they've seen more and more car fires across the island. So interesting enough that we see that junkyard fire again just today, but they ask everyone and anyone to get as much information. If you do spot a car fire out there, report it immediately to the fire department, to the local authorities, so to keep everyone safe and so we can try and find out who are the culprits.
For sure. All right.
Time for a quick break, Des, but keep it here.
You're watching KUAM, your leader in local news.
KUAM TV8 is now streaming live on Peacock.
Expected to participate in the parade.
Get your local news and weather at home or on the go.
Building a home on Guam is to make sure it's typhoon-proof.
Plus your favorite NBC shows. From Today to The Tonight Show, live.
We're so happy that you're joining us.
You guys ready for this?
And so much more.
The OGs are back. Oh, what a treat.
All in one place. Streaming now on Peacock.
For the first time in 30 years, Coors Light has an ad in the big game.
Actually, this is a Miller Lite commercial.
Mountain Cold Refreshment. It's Miller time. Great taste. Less filling. Cold as the Rockies. Coors commercial. Miller commercial.
Actually, it's a Blue Moon commercial.
A space that fits your diverse lifestyles. Simple, yet sensuous. It is a perfect form, a streamlined silhouette. Awaken your world. Electrified Streamliner, Ionic 6.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa. You can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Zoom zoom! 'Tis the season for speed, and Docomo Pacific is putting prepaid customers in the fast lane. Starting November 3rd, 2023 to January 31st, 2024, every $5 prepaid card purchase from a participating store gives Docomo Pacific customers a chance to win a brand new Mazda 3. So load up at participating stores and drop off your entry to any Docomo Pacific retail store. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply. Visit DocomoPacific.com for details.
Tonight is now chicken night?
Oh, yes, it's chicken night. Kentucky Fried Chicken night. Oh, yes, it's chicken night. Oh, what a night. Oh, what a night.
Make it a chicken night with KFC's $25 fill-up box.
It's making good.
What you need to know from the Northern Marianas. Follow KUAM CNMI on Instagram for the latest regional headlines.
Welcome back to Primetime. U.S.-UK carry out additional strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen as talks over release of hostages in Gaza remain at an impasse.
NBC's Raf Sanchez reports.
U.S. Navy fighter jets leading a major new wave of joint American and British airstrikes against Iranian-backed Houthi militants in Yemen. The attacks targeting missiles, radar sites, and weapons depots, according to U.S. Central Command. It's the 8th time Western forces have struck in Yemen in response to months of Houthi attacks in the Red Sea, which are threatening to hold up global shipping. The U.S. and U.K. saying, "We will not hesitate to defend lives and the free flow of commerce." But so far, the strikes failing to deter the Houthis, who say their attacks will continue until the war in Gaza ends. That doesn't look likely anytime soon. Israel's military saying this morning it's encircled the city of Han Yunis, sending thousands of Palestinian civilians fleeing further south in hope of safety. But Israel also reeling from news 24 troops were killed in Gaza yesterday, its single bloodiest day of the war. Prime Minister Netanyahu saying, "On behalf of our heroes, we will not stop fighting until total victory." But two Israeli officials tell NBC News they've offered Hamas a 2-month pause in the fighting in exchange for the release of the remaining hostages. Families of those hostages storming a parliamentary committee yesterday, demanding action from their government. "You will not sit here while our children die," this father shouts. Among the protesters, Gil Dickman, whose cousin Carmel is still a hostage.
If you could speak to her now, what would you tell her?
I'd say, Carmeli, I'm so sorry it took us such a long time. I really want this to end. We all want this to end, but we're coming for you.
The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled the federal government can remove parts of the razor wire barrier installed by Texas to keep migrants from crossing the U.S.-Mexico border.
The new development comes as congressional negotiators continue to work on a bipartisan deal on border security and immigration policy. Natalie Brand reports from Washington.
Razor wire installed by the state of Texas along the U.S.-Mexico border can now be removed by the federal government following a ruling by the Supreme Court. In a 5-4 decision, justices sided with the Biden administration, allowing the barrier's removal while the legal challenge plays out in lower court.
Border Patrol needed access, and that's why we
suit to get rid of that razor wire so that they could do their jobs.
The decision comes as Senate negotiators close in on a bipartisan deal that would impose tougher immigration and asylum laws in the U.S.
Negotiators are still working through some outstanding items. All of us want to reach an agreement, but it is very important that we get this right.
Republicans have pushed for significant limits on asylum and stepped up deportation efforts in exchange for funding for Ukraine and Israel. But timing on a vote remains unclear.
I just don't know that it gets to the point of, confidence level that I want to be a yes vote, but I'm not a yes vote today.
Mustafar Shishti, a senior fellow with the Migration Policy Institute, calls the talks a good start.
Congress hasn't been able to agree on anything bipartisan on immigration in more than 30 years. So just the fact that there is actually a bipartisan effort to deal with an aspect of immigration problem is worth noting.
A sticking point in negotiations has been the president's ability to let people into the country through humanitarian parole. Since taking office, President Biden has used immigration parole at a historic scale, admitting 1 million migrants into the U.S. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Former President Donald Trump tonight winning in New Hampshire, once again demonstrating his hold on the Republican Party.
Still, former governor and Ambassador Nikki Haley is vowing to stay in the race. NBC's Alice Barr is live on Capitol Hill with the latest on the nation's first primary.
In New Hampshire tonight, former President Trump sealing another victory in his march toward the Republican presidential nomination.
Well, I want to thank everybody. This is a fantastic state.
He's now the first Republican to win contested races in both Iowa and New Hampshire since 1976, when the states began leading the map. The consecutive wins dealing a serious blow to former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, the last major GOP candidate challenging the former president.
She did very poorly, actually. She had to win.
Haley had been hoping New Hampshire's many independent voters would help her pull out an upset. She insists she'll keep fighting.
New Hampshire is first in the nation. It is not the last in the nation. This race is far from over.
But Mr. Trump, flanked by past Republican rivals who dropped out and backed him, is already looking to the general election.
We're way up on everybody. We're way up on Biden.
President Biden and Vice President Harris also eyeing the November election, teaming up today to target Republicans on abortion, the issue they think is most likely to drive their supporters to the polls.
Freedom is on the ballot, like the freedom to choose.
President Biden winning the Democratic primary in New Hampshire despite not being on the ballot because Democrats made South Carolina their first sanctioned primary state. Enough voters wrote in the president to bring him his first victory of the 2024 race for the White House. As the guessing game continues over how long Nikki Haley's candidacy can survive, her campaign sent out a new memo arguing there's fertile ground for her to pick up delegates through Super Tuesday. That's in early March. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
The presidential race definitely heating up, continues to heat up there across the nation. Can't wait to see how our midterms election turn out here locally.
Yep.
The CNMI Senate held the second of 3 confirmation hearings for Superior Court Judge nominee Lillian Tenorio. Tenorio, the current Deputy Attorney General, was nominated by Governor Arnold Palacios last November. She currently serves as the primary legal counsel for executive branch departments under the AG's office. Before joining the office, she ran a law firm representing a wide range of cases. In the early 2000s, she was the legal counsel for the NMI House of Representatives. Today, Tenorio continued to answer several questions about her background and approach to the law, including how she would handle potential conflicts of interest.
Now, seeing how all the judges recuse themselves with cases involving the former governor, seeing as how you were appointed by Governor Palacios, if ever there were to be a case against the current governor, would you recuse yourself solely on the fact that he appointed you?
Not on my appointment, but probably looking at the matters, what particular matters a case is based on, and whether I've been involved in providing legal advice. I mean, that's something that I have to take into account and observe the usual rules of recusal and disqualification that's provided for under statute. There's specific statute dealing with disqualification, and also under the rules, the canons of judicial conduct.
The CNMI Bar Association also submitted its evaluation of Tenorio. She received a score of 4 out of 5, or good across all categories of legal ability, integrity, and impartiality, communication skills and professionalism, and temperament. Tenorio's last confirmation hearing will be held on Rhoda on February 6 before her nomination reaches the full Senate for a vote.
Fino Chamorro for Beginners aims to aid anyone interested in learning the language.
Regional correspondent Tomas Menglotnia sits down with Dr. Faye Onsalan, who worked on the guide for over a decade.
Fino Chamorro for Beginners by Dr. Faye Onsalan hopes to reach anyone interested in learning the language.
Chamorro is an oral language. It's very fluid and it's very creative. Speakers say what they want to say to describe something their own way, and everybody who speaks it understands. But when teaching Chamorro to a non-Chamorro speaker, it's hard because they need to understand the structure, why.
The book was launched on Saipan by the University of Guam Press under their PROA Publications imprint at the Northern Marianas College. The instructional guide with language exercises was created with Chamorro scholars, instructors, and native speakers.
You know, it's really for a learner, make it easier for a person who wants to learn Chamorro to learn. It also provides for teaching, so it can be used for both teaching and learning. And I've tested it because I've worked on it for over 10 years, actually since the grant. Tested it with kids in school, as young as middle school, high school, and college, and adults.
We asked her how she considered the NMI and Guam's orthographies.
Oh, that was very challenging, and that was one of the reasons why it took a long time to finish the book. When we were doing the book, Guam's Language Commission had not implemented their orthography, because in the past, I don't know whether they was not approved or what, but it wasn't actively, used. I mean, at that time that we were doing the grant. So at the end, when I was finished, then they had that, and then there was the issue. How are we going to do this? And I came with the notion of the spoken Chamorro, the traditional Chamorro. I learned how to read Chamorro to Umatuna Situus, through prayer books, and that's it. So that's how I learned how to write Chamorro. And so I wanted to keep it like that, because that's majority of Chamorro today. I think that's how they had learned Chamorro.
Ultimately, she says she hopes the book is used widely in the Marianas and by those living abroad.
The one thing I want people to know is that this book is actually came out of the struggle to try and teach Chamorro to non-Chamorro speakers at the university level. And when I did the grant, it was for that purpose, is to create a textbook so that it can be taught wherever Chamorro students want to learn.
Tomas Manglonia, KUAM News, Saipan.
Thanks, Tomas. Well, amid instances of school violence, campus inspections, and more, the Guam Department of Education is holding its inaugural engagement forum this evening to foster meaningful dialogue between the community and education officials. Parents and other stakeholders gathering this hour at the Southern High School cafeteria in Santa Rita. It's their officials encourage participants to voice their concerns.
Education officials also seeking insights to help create a collaborative environment that supports solutions and continual improvement throughout the education system. Among the divisions from the central office that will be present include capital improvement projects, Chamorro studies, and special projects division facilities and maintenance as well, and student support services and more.
Well, the new Coast 360 Federal Credit Union located in Upper Tuman opened its doors on Monday with a soft opening. The two-story state-of-the-art building, which is situated at the corner of the Harmon Industrial Park intersection, replaces its Tumaning location, designed with convenience, comfort, and the community in mind. CEO of Coast 360 says the new member center provides more space and amenities and allows them to better serve the multi-generational group of members with varying financial goals and banking references, to include the Business 360 suite located on the second floor, the community room that is open by all civic, nonprofit, and other community organizations in search of a comfortable space for meetings and presentations at no charge.
There is a convenient 24-hour services that include 2 walk-up ATMs, an express drop box for payments and deposits, and of course, drive-up services with 4 lanes to assist customers. The Coast 360 Upper Tumon Member Center is open Monday through Thursday from 9 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It is that time of year where the Guam Homeless Coalition will join the rest of the nation in taking part in the 2024 point-in-time homeless count. The count will take place on Friday, January 26th from 4 in the morning to 11 at night, with several volunteers heading out all over the island to count and survey Guam's sheltered and unsheltered houseless population, providing critical data that assists in informing policy and obtaining resources to prevent and end homelessness. Now, volunteers will be in official government vehicles wearing GHC volunteer shirts and reflective vests. Keep that in mind. Volunteers will also be distributing care bags.
Chairperson Samantha Taitano wants to thank Bank of Guam for their sponsorship, Department of Education for food commodities, as well as the countless organizations and government agencies who held donation drives and the individuals who contributed to them. She adds the pit count is a community effort with everyone playing a part to make it happen. For more information, you can visit GuamHomelessnessCoalition.org. Well, it's attention to all veterans. Take note that on Saturday, January 27th and Sunday, January 28th, a PACT Act registration and community call will be held from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the second floor of the Agana Shopping Center. VA healthcare professionals will also be on hand to share information and resources. Veterans who already enrolled may also come for diabetic foot checks and blood pressure checks. As KUAM reported, the promise to address comprehensive toxics or PACT Act is a historic new law that will help VA deliver for millions of veterans and their spouses or survivors care and benefits to veterans suffering from more than 20 toxic exposure-related conditions.
It will also bring generations of men and women who have served into VA healthcare, which will improve veteran health outcomes across the board. You can learn more about the PACT Act by visiting va.gov/pact. With only 3 days left until her first ever concert, local artist Harmony Shade takes KUAM through a deep dive of her album, Guarded, one that explores themes of self-worth, reflection, and acceptance.
Hear how that body of work is now finding new life and meaning.
Thank you, ancient source of wisdom, for allowing me what I need to know.
Initially guarded,
I just felt like I had this invisible shield, and with that shield, I thought it was protecting me.
Don't mess me up, 'cause I'm hard to love.
Singer-songwriter Harmony Shade's artistic journey is blossoming out of isolation and self-doubt with a newfound vulnerability, dismantling emotional barriers and paving the way for a deeply authentic connection with her audience. The musician reflecting on that transformation in a one-on-one interview with KUAM ahead of her debut concert, a dream that once felt out of reach.
I knew halfway through college, okay, music is the goal, it's the dream. And so I felt a little handicapped and sometimes even paralyzed when you have this big dream and you're like, how do I get there? And so Guarded kind of came to me on that journey, and I was realizing that I was removing myself from a lot of like social gatherings and kind of getting into this spiral mindset of like, oh my God, what am I doing? Felt very, very scary, just wanting to have something so big but don't know how to get there.
The writer navigating through that uncertainty with pen and paper in hand, beautifully capturing her storied state in a 12-track album she named Guarded.
I cried a lot throughout that time just because, again, the isolation and not knowing if, honestly, I was good enough to be a songwriter, to just kind of exist, you know, and go after the dreams.
And opposite to the record's name, the project is far removed from closed off, becoming a vessel for others to connect and an ode to the singer's resilience.
When that album came out and I was starting to get some messages, it was mind-blowing because some of them really took the album and said that it helped them heal in ways that they didn't know it could. And so for that Guarded to be an extension of myself and to really flow to other people and to their ears and feel that it was a beacon of light washing over them to heal, it made me feel very whole inside, almost like fix some broken pieces.
It's a gentle reminder that just like the phases of the moon, she and her art are worthy through every stage. And with this, she's now stepping into her wildest dreams free of loneliness, in communion and celebration as she releases Guarded Phases of the Moon, the concert, bringing up with her an array of homegrown musical acts, dancers, and more.
I feel cozy because I feel very supported by not only the reception that people have been like, oh, I'm so excited to come, but just my team that I have, my team that's made up my best friends, the dancers that are involved, getting to know them, my band, the strings, they're high schoolers. Like, I just feel so cozy and comfy with them because they make me feel confident in my artistry.
Watch Harmony take the stage at the Phoenix Center in Manilao on January 27th from 6 to 11 p.m. For more details about Guarded Phases of the Moon, head over to KUAM.com.
Harmony Shea there. Looking forward to that, I'm sure.
Definitely. You know, I literally had to take a pause for a moment because that interview was so eye-opening and so interesting to hear from an artist of her process, her healing process most especially, and taking the time to also share that with other people. I know she mentioned in the story that so many people messaged her, thanking her for being so vulnerable and open with her struggles. She touched on mental health. She touched on, you know, being confused in life, and I think those are really honest conversations to speak about in music. So what better way to celebrate healing than through a concert, right? And
helps to drive the music and the words that you put to paper right there, right? You can relate too as a singer-songwriter, fellow singer-songwriter as well. I'm surprised we didn't get a piece of you harmonizing with Harmony.
We should have. But you know, the conversation kept flowing because we were just artist to artist speaking with one another. So it was really amazing. And Harmony, if you're watching, thank you again for sharing your story with us and with the island.
Should give you any advice, any tips?
The tip is to do everything with intention. And so that's what we're leading with always being intentional with our energy, how we treat others, and moving forward with that.
What we do here every night, we intend to give you the news.
There we go.
Well, moving on, we, like many of you, are excited for the premiere of the new Bob Marley One Love movie.
It hits the big screen in theaters in Guam on February 14th, Valentine's Day. And we got multiple ways you can get your hands on a pair of tickets for the premiere day. You'll want to follow at KUAM News on Instagram for your chance to win. Now, starting this Friday, we will be dropping clues for ticket drop locations. You can also find out how to win by listening in to the Breeze 93.9 FM.
Also...
Wait, there's more ways to win?
Yes.
Ooh.
Check out the upcoming Fresco Friday features on KUAM News' IG page and subscribe to KUAM's weekly newsletter for more chances to win. Plus, our digital team will be hosting Tiny Mic features out in the community, so be on the lookout for them. Ooh,
nice. Well, winners will also enjoy a special Valentine's Day exclusive screening with Chessa and other fun treats for you and your plus one.
What a fun way to celebrate the season of love.
Definitely.
Or
Food.
Singles Awareness Day, however you see it.
There we go.
Now for a look at your world at home. Here's a view captured along the shore from Commercial Port in Pele.
This view plus more Chamorro music streaming now on Isla Digital Radio.
Taco Bell is so good and so cheap.
I know, right? I wonder why.
What if they know we're broke? What if they're trying to be the good guys?
Yeah. Thanks, Taco Bell!
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Happy new phone! Start the new year off right with a brand new phone from GTA. For a limited time, trade in your old phone and get an extra $300 off your new phone with any unlimited plan. Say goodbye to that cracked screen and say hello to the latest 5G phones. We accept over 100 types, any condition, even lock. Get more with GTA. More 5G coverage, more unlimited plans, more savings. Visit gta.net for more info. GTA. We start with you.
Guam is truly a majestic place with its sheer natural beauty, wealth of beaches, and culturally rich landscape. Unfortunately, Guam has a real problem with unwanted invasive species. Help us in preventing their introduction and spread. The coconut rhinoceros beetle, the little fire ant, the African snail, Siam weed. These are just a few of the numerous invasives on Guam. Follow proper custom procedures when bringing plants and animals into Guam.
Help protect Guam. Tell your family and friends about invasive species.
To report invasive species, call 475-PEST.
Mickey D's McCrispy. Formerly known as the Crispy Chicken Sandwich, now has some respect on his name. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Real talk. The Spicy Crispy Chicken Sandwich should have been named Spicy McCrispy from jump. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
What's better than a cheesy bite? Cheese in every bite. That's why we invented stuffed crust pizza, topped and stuffed with almost a pound of cheese. There's only one original, the original stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
A space that fits your diverse lifestyles. Simple, yet sensuous. It is a perfect form, a streamlined silhouette. Awaken your world. Electrified Streamliner, Ioniq 6.
Zoom! 'Tis the season for speed, and Docomo Pacific is putting prepaid customers in the fast lane. Starting November 3rd, 2023 to January 31st, 2024, every $5 prepaid card purchase from a participating store gives Docomo Pacific customers a chance to win a brand new Mazda 3. So load up at participating stores and drop off your entry to any Docomo Pacific retail store. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply. Visit DocomoPacific.com for details.
Taco Bell is so good and so cheap.
I know, right? I wonder why.
What if they know we're broke? What if they're trying to be the good guys?
Ah. Thanks, Taco Bell!
Shout out to our friends at the National Association of Social Workers. I know many of them. They are very, very concerned, caring members of our community, and they have an event, 2J Regional Training Conference. It's happening March 13th and 14th from 8 to 4 at the Westin. You have to register, and you have to get it done by March the 3rd. So if you have a passion for taking care of people and making sure that people get connected with resources, make sure to go for that. Knowledge is power. All right, on Friday the 26th of this month from 3:30 to 5:30, UOG Press is inviting you to the launch of Fino Chamorro for beginners and an author signing by Dr. Faye Untalan. It's going to be at UOG's College of Liberal Arts and Sciences building. Make sure to check that out. Good work there. And on February 2nd, up for our friends in Saipan, you are invited to the 2nd Annual Mental Health Summit. The title is Courageous Conversations. It's going to be held at the Hyatt Regency Saipan. That is what's happening today in News Bites.
Thanks, Jace. Wow, that Fino Chamorro project, what a great project to learn about. And we saw earlier in the show, our Tomas Manglonia, he met up with the author there up in Saipan. I know more will be done here with the University of Guam and UOG Press.
Yes, and shout out, I have to say, shout out to the University of Guam Press. My sister Cabrini works there, so definitely had a hand in this project. And again, like you said, learning Chamorro for beginners, like I feel like this is something that we can benefit from as well, right?
Hungan.
So, there we go, Hungan. We're so excited for the launch of it. We can't wait.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure many of you are excited out there if you're celebrating, because it's birthday wishes time.
Here's your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shout out submitted on KUAM.com.
Happy birthday on the 24th of January to Damian Garcia. And Damian, your very, very wonderful shout out says thus. I want to give a birthday shout out to my grandson Damian, who turns 12 on the 24th. Damian currently resides in California and is watching this birthday shout out online. Awesome. Thanks for watching, man. We love and miss you so much, handsome. Mama, Papa, and your Guam family want to wish you a very, very happy 12th birthday. And Damian, from all of us over here on Guam, your extended Guam family, and from Cold Stone Creamery and KUAM, we wish you a wonderful Wednesday and a wonderful birthday, and thanks for watching.
Happy birthday to all of you celebrating out there today. Anyone else you want to wish happy birthday to, Des?
Anybody whose birthday it is today.
Yeah, blow out the candles, because if you submit right now on KUAM.com, get your chance to win an ice cream cake, and we'll announce it every Friday here on Primetime. Meantime, that's your Primetime show. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Have a great evening and stay beautiful.